This is my second episode for the two cases. In this video, I will cover all of two cases, which there's four more remaining. So I start with this case, which I call it 5-1, right T 5-1. So for this case, you see this line thing like that, this red piece and this blue piece, this line. So you trace from this corner and then end with the line like this way. And for bottom, you can trace it in any way. Since for these two cases, it doesn't matter at all. So you trace it this way and continue with whatever piece at the bottom. Okay, so let me start with even parity. So you need to remember, like in most of the scenarios, even parity is normally the good out. So for this case, even parity, you just set it out into scallop kite. So for odd parity, you do something a little more complicated, which is like you set it up into scallop kite as well, but you need to do something called a parity shift. You do parity shift for scallop kite case, which works like that. You hold the kite like this, and then you make sure you don't interrupt these four pieces. This scallop, do this -2, 2, and slice. You set up the kite in front. Then you do scallop kite. So for the mirrors, so you just trace it the same way. Just forget about this thing. Assume it's the smaller piece. So you trace it from this piece, continue with whatever piece here. For example, this one, since this is here. So for even parity, you do the same solution. You convert this into scallop kite. So do this, set up kite, and then you get scallop kite. You solve it. So for odd parity, you trace it. So for odd parity, you need to do the parity shift, which goes like that. You set it out into scallop kite first, and you hold it like this. Make sure your slice move won't interrupt this scallop. What you do is you move it. If like the kite is at the back like that, you move it to the front. If it's in front, then you just put this scallop like this. So you move it to the back like that, which is a parity shift. It depends on where's your kite. It depends on how you hold your kite. So yeah. So for my next case is called lefty 5-1. It's the totally inverse of the previous one. So for you start from this line. For this, you start from the line and end with the corner. For bottom, you can start from whatever piece you want. So you do for odd. So since like it's the inverse, so for odd parity, you set up into scallop kite. For even parity, you need to do the parity shift, which is like that. You get to scallop kite. So in this case, my kite is in front, so I do this. Move it to the back. You must make sure that this piece is not here, so like it doesn't get paired up and then like that. So it won't become something like that. Do parity shift, then you solve scallop kite. So for my next case, it's the same case but it's a mirrored. So you just trace from the same piece, which is this piece, go around until the corner, and continue with the bottom layer. So for odd parity, it's the inverse of the righty version. So for odd parity, you just set up into scallop kite and just solve it. So for even parity, okay, same thing of course. So for even parity, you need to do the parity shift. So in this case, I need to move this kite to the back. If my kite is at the back, then you can also put your kite at the back. Then you shift it to the front like that. Like this. You put this scallop like that. Or you hold it this way, anyway, as long it doesn't like destroys the scallop, or as long this L doesn't pass out with the scallop. So next for this case, I'm not sure it's 3-1 or 3-1-2. Anyways, this is what I call a lefty version, which you have a left paw. So for the left paw one, it's the bad one. I call it the bad one. So which means even parity have the bad solution and odd one is the easier solution. So for this, you trace it from this angle like that. You see this thing, this pair, you break this pair. You imagine there's a line between them, which is, in this case, is the slice. So you trace this way from this white red piece, go around, and then the other red piece, black red, then you continue the bottom. So for even parity, since like it's a bad one, it's not really bad, but I call it the bad one. So what you do is you set this up into a case called square shield. So how you do is you use this orange and green piece, which this pair, orange and green pair, and this blue and green pair, to form a shield like that, a shield. Then you solve square shield, which in this case, this is how you solve it, like that. So for odd parity, you set this up into scallop kite, where you move this pair and connect this pair to the tree. Then you see this scallop, so you pair it up. I mean you hide it, and then you set up scallop kite. Then you just solve scallop kite. So next is the other case, the mirrored inverse case. So this is what I call the right one, so it's like the good one. So for even parity, you convert this into scallop kite like that by pairing these three pieces and this pair together. Then you see this line thingy, you pair this line and this pair, you get a kite, and where we got scallop kite. So for odd parity, that was even parity. So for odd parity, you convert this thing into square shield, which by using this orange red pair and these two green pieces. Okay, this is how you do it. Well, you see this L and this L, you need these two you need to separate them to form a square. This is how you recognize it. So you separate these two L's, you get a square. Then you will get a shield at the bottom if you place this other pair at the right spot. Then you solve square shield like this, like that.